Your
right?
life's a joke. Everything's a joke.
All right, let's get the show on the road though. Cheese. What's your topic this week? What do you want to talk about?
Uh, yeah, well, I'm not so much these days because there's just work and everything we're doing here. It's great, but I used to be a big reader. I still have a huge book collection, and I guess I just got to thinking, like, if you guys ever were avid readers or enjoyed that at all, and like, what was your favorite book, or what is your favorite book, and if there's anything that you might reread or something that may or may not be coming out you're looking forward to. So I'm a big Dickens fan. I think Tale of Two Cities is probably my favorite book ever. It's beautiful, beautifully written, ends well, and I don't know. You guys got any books you like? You guys read? Other than Reddit, Reddit doesn't count.
I read nutrition labels. No, I'm kidding. That's a lie too. What the fuck am I talking about?
I know for a fact you don't read nutrition labels.
Was that a fat joke, dude? Yeah,
dude, you're so huge compared to me.
It's
crazy.
I'm hitting the gym when I get back from PAX, dude. I'm going like balls deep.
JIM.
I don't think you're supposed to go balls deep in a gym. I think you'll get kicked out for that.
Kicked out of my apartment complex. That bitch is right over there, like behind me.
Well, don't call her a bitch
then. Oh my god!
All right, yeah, books, intelligence.
I'm pretty smart or whatever.
I recently read a book, Target Patton, about this theory about the plot to assassinate General Patton, which was kind of cool. I mean, granted, a lot of it is like inference made from loose facts, but it was, an interesting insight into some theories of history that I knew nothing about. Like, I didn't know George Patton had died in Germany. I thought he was just like got old and died like, most people, or I guess most Americans. But recently, like, it's mainly historical fiction for me, or historical
nonfiction.
Nonfiction, right? That's
there you go.
I was about to say faction, like I was on the cusp of saying
faction.
Let me go.
Fiction and faction.
Next time, just let it happen. Next time.
I mean, a lot of the books I read as a child, I'll still reread. Like, I mean, every now and then, like, I'll have like the inclination to like read Harry Potter or some of the Star Wars books that I have with me. But I don't seek it out as much as I used to. I don't know if that's because for me, like, the ease of reading a book is just so far below like playing a video game. And that's how I want to unwind.
It's like sometimes reading a book is I don't know what it is, but I can stay up till 4 playing a video game because I'm insane. But as soon as I start reading a book, I'll start dozing off.
Right.
That's exactly what happens to me.
But I've actually been I still love reading, honestly. I've got some stuff. You actually can see my bookshelf back there. I've got one shelf dedicated to books. I don't keep that many print books anymore because I'm still at an age where I need to move around. So the more books I have, the more of a pain in the ass it is to like carry around everywhere. But I've got a couple books that I really enjoy that I like reread from time to time. Like Agatha Christie's my favorite mystery writer. I just actually gave the first book I read by her to a coworker because he was asking me to read something. It's this book called And Then There Were None, where like these 10 strangers all are invited to this island under like false pretense, and then they're like this. It's like set back in the before the 50s in like England or something. They ferry out to this island, and then they're having dinner, and over the record player they're all like accused of murder of some sort. And then one by one they start dying, and no one knows who's doing it.
Are you sure you're not getting this mixed up with Danganronpa or whatever the hell it's called?
That's why I like Danganronpa also, honestly. I love murder mystery. But honestly, so other than those books that I reread, like I've got some Harry Potter up there, I've got some Dan Brown. Dan Brown's a really fast read. It's not like a good read, but it's like a really fast, like fun read. So I read those from time to time. I listen to a lot of audiobooks. I had an Audible subscription for a while. And a couple years ago in like 2011, we had this terrible storm in Columbus and they knocked out our power lines. We were without power for like 11 days in the middle of the summer. It was the worst.
When
And I
was
got
this?
like
That sounds terrible.
2011.
Oh fuck
And
that!
I got
dude.
like deathly
Yeah.
ill, and like it was just awful. But I remember I went to
Shit,
the
that was the year of
bookstore.
the PlayStation Network 35-day outage too. Rip 2011. Fuck
I know
that.
that was it was dark
You're
times.
sucked.
But then my cousin Emma turned me on to this author named Harlan Coben, who's this like sports agent who also ends up like he always ends up doing like private eye work. I really like noir, like L.A. Noir, the game. I just love like private detective, you know, smooth crack, you know, smooth crack, wise cracking ass detectives that, you know, get
like
themselves into
Scooby-Doo.
trouble
Mhm.
and are smart in the face of danger. And I read a couple of the books, and then I started listening to audiobooks at work. And one just recently came out this year, and it was really good. So that's like 10 or 11 books over the past couple of years I listened to. And then I also listened to the new Star Wars canon books. And those are really cool to listen to because they actually, like, they're licensed Star Wars, like they're accepted into the Star Wars canon, so they have like music playing in the background when there's a fight scene, like fight going on. They actually have like the blaster sounds and stuff going off, so it's like it's like a really fun listen. Like, and you know, some people maybe vilify me for listening to books rather than reading them, but let me say there have been studies done that say your retention is almost the same if you're listening to the books as opposed to reading them, and somewhat even more. You're almost gaining more sometimes because you learn pronunciations of words. Just throwing that out there.
That's true.
But I like reading and listening. Thank you.
I
Anything?
like audiobooks.
If anything, I wanted to, now that I started flying here, read Lord of the Rings again.
Oh yeah.
That's definitely my favorite.
You were tweeting about that the other day.
Yeah.
You're a big Lord of the Rings nerd.
Yeah, I'm a really big Lord of the Rings.
You
So
could redact
I wanted to
Lord
buy
of
the
the Rings,
books, but the airports didn't have them. So that otherwise I would have read.
Oh, dude, we can go to a
them, so-
bookstore here if you want to get some.
Yeah, we should probably do.
We could do that. Are
At
you?
least buy the first book, because that's like so many years, probably 10 years ago since I read that.
Yeah,
So,
they're so long.
yeah.
They're so long, but they're good
That's
reads.
a task. I feel like it'd be good for like a plane, like you said.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
exactly.
perfect for that kind of thing.
Ride back or whatever.
But switching this to video games just briefly, did you guys see the like new Shadow of Mordor announcement? New Shadow, like
Yeah, I
Oh, I
saw
haven't
that.
seen
Nope.
the new game.
Shadow.
It looks really cool.
Shadow of War.
Yeah, Shadow of War, I think it is.
They should have called it Shadow of Mordor.
I don't know. I really like the Nemesis system from the first one. What'd you say? Shadow of what?
Wardor.
Shadow
of Mordor.
Yeah, Shadow of Hodor.
Oh, Hodor. Better than what I thought you said.
All right, anyway.
I mean, I know what that is because of hearing it, but I have still never watched that show.
Oh. Good books
So,
too.
essentially-
Actually.
Essentially, it's
still hold it
Hagrid, but
against
he
you.
can only say Hodor. You got it.
Anyway,
Oh, okay.
Buck, you read anything?
Most of the time I wind up reading. I had like one Humble bundle that I got was like they do like that Humble book bundle, so that's really cool. One of them was a bunch of these. It's like a bunch of it's like I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like one of the most, I guess, it's one of the most popular like technical books that they write, and so it teaches you a lot of stuff about like being a sysadmin. And there's like stuff on like PHP or like whatever. Like they just write a bunch of books. So I forget what they're called.
How to pull a wedgie out after you get wedgie.
Yeah, exactly. But they're really good books. Like I don't know, they're not manuals, but they kind of like go through and explain like the basics of like Linux or like the basics of Windows and how to be a Windows admin and stuff like that. And I don't know, I've been reading those a lot because I got them on the Humble bundle for pretty cheap. I started reading Man in the High Castle. Started reading that.
Is that what the series on Amazon's based off of?
Yeah, the series on Amazon's loosely based on
as any book adaptation is.
Yeah. The characters are different, and they're like it doesn't have the same timeline, and there's different events that occur, but yeah, I mean, you know how that goes. So there's that. I'm reading a book about the gulag that happened whenever they were throwing all the people in the gulag when it was Soviet Russia. So I'm reading about that. It's like it's called the Gulag I can't pronounce the word.
Archipelago?
Yeah, Archipelago, I guess.
Archipelago.
Archipelago, that's what it is. Yeah, I can't pronounce that word. I always want to say archipelagio for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, I'm reading a book about just, it's like a lot of anecdotal stories that happen. And this guy like went around and kind of collected stories about, what was actually happening in the country, because nobody was writing about it, because they were like super police state, not about people writing anything or whatever. So we like went around and just collected a bunch of stories and wound up getting a book out and published and everything after it was all said and done. So that's a really cool book. Outside of that, just reading a bunch of forums online about fucking tech stuff.
Would you guys say you prefer nonfiction or fiction?
I prefer fiction.
You think so?
I prefer fiction.
You do?
I do like a good nonfiction book. But honestly, like I use those things as kind of like an escape, just like with video games, stuff like that. Like I don't want to read a book that's like, I don't want to read a bunch of books that are just about a bunch of depressing shit that happens in real life, or like shit about like somebody's life or their memoir, and they had like a fucking tough childhood, like tough titty dude. I don't really give a fuck. Like I'm trying to have a good time. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to like have a good. I don't want to like escape my shitty life so I can read about your shitty life. Like that doesn't make sense to me.
I like reading a little bit of nonfiction here and there. Like I really like the Band of Brothers like book.
That'd be cool. Like, yeah, I would read that. Like, that's cool because that's a cool
Boo Hoo,
concept.
I thought, dude. Boo Hoo.
But yeah, no, I'm talking
World
about
War II, Boo Hoo.
Like, fucking biographies and shit. Like, I don't know. Fuck you, man. I'm allowed to have my opinions. They suck.
No, that's all right.
Fuck Helen Keller.
We're just and Mike Golick, don't forget.
And Mike Golick.
Jeez, what did you mention off the top what you were reading?
Yeah, well, I mentioned that Tale of Two Cities was probably my favorite, but back to what you just said about your favorite of being fiction or nonfiction. But I read a couple books where they kind of married the two, where it started off nonfiction, and then like I read this book. It was called Terror. It was about the Franklin expedition for the Northwest Passage back in, I don't know, 1870 maybe. And so the Franklin expedition disappeared. No one really, they never found. No one knew what happened. So it was like a book based on facts up until the point where they were last spotted off the coast of Greenland. And then from then, the author took, creative liberties and sort of told the rest of the story, how he may or may not have thought it happened. And that was cool because it was factual to, halfway through the book. And then the second half was,
That's some of my favorite nonfiction where it's like, what the fuck
that
happened?
was really cool. Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff. Like,
that was a really cool read.
That's why, I like that kind of stuff.
Like you've got like Jack the Ripper. You've got Amelia Earhart. You've got that.
Yeah, that
weird,
kind of stuff's interesting to me.
That
as well.
thing in like Eastern Europe with those people that were like hiking and then all went crazy and died. That you guys know what I'm talking about? It's like the something pass incident.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
Like there are pictures of them. They were all like just hanging out, and someone went back because they like someone left. Like they took pictures and one of them was like not feeling well, so they left, and the rest of them were going through this like pass, and then they never came through the other side, and like the evidence that they found of all the people, like everyone was dead, and all the evidence was like super weird. Like someone just went outside and started like frantically like shoving snow in their mouth and stuff. Like someone went outside without like shoes on in the snow and like just ended up dying. Like
the Yaltov Pass incident.
Yeah, it's really weird. I just that's the kind of nonfiction I'm totally into. Like just trying to
that's pretty
and reading what people like
brutal.
think happened and crazy.
Speculative nonfiction is what I would coin that.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that kind of shit.
I've never read A Tale of Two Cities, admittedly.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful book, man.
School, dude. Fuck you.
Beautiful story.
No, I'd like to read it. It's my only. No, we didn't have to read Tale of Two Cities.
And like super long.
I didn't have to read that in school either, to be fair, to defend Brad.
We had to read like Lord of the Flies.
Lord of the Flies, yeah.
I don't know. I had
that
like
standard
super awesome, outdated ass Texas education, so that's cool too.
Are there any books they made you like read in school that you like gained an appreciation for later on? Like stuff.
Lord of the Flies was one.
Yeah, Lord of the Flies was one for me, and The Great Gatsby was another.
Yeah, what was the one with the wolf and
Great
the boy?
Gatsby.
The guy, the boy. I don't know.
The Big Bad Wolf.
No, yeah.
That's going a little far back.
Little Red
Yeah,
Riding Hood.
You just don't fully understand the concepts of those
I really
type of
love those
stories.
books with all the pictures in them and like one sentence on the page.
Greg Stone. The shit's deep, man. You gotta read it.
Dude, that porridge was too hot. Like it's crazy.
I just figured out what Ring Around the Posy was like a day ago. Crazy.
Dude, a
stuff,
lot of those
man.
children's rhymes come from dark places, man. It's crazy.
I read in high school, I played the game Dante's Inferno and I read the entire Divine Comedy.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that was like one of the craziest things I've ever
Actually, I
done.
own that
I
book.
don't know why I
Yeah.
fucking did it. Like I was just like, man, this is really fucking cool. And I was like thinking that the book would be like super badass. And I was like, this is gonna be awesome. Like, and I started reading, I was like, holy shit, this is not like the game at all. Like the game was way different than this. And then I was like, well, I guess I gotta finish it. Like this is actually kind of interesting because I like started looking into like it was like a political social commentary. So I was like, oh, like this is cool of like the times and stuff. So I just read it.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
I actually felt kind of similar about Catcher in the Rye because like when you're in 8th grade or like whatever grade it was, like 9th grade, and you read that book, you don't understand what being like lost in like life is, and you kind of like figure that sort of thing out as you get older. And I haven't read it since then, but I remember the story pretty well because I enjoyed reading it at the time, and I still look back to that as a book that I really enjoyed reading by requirement.
Yeah, there are almost some books that gain context once you're a little bit older, and you're like, I kind of get it now.
Yeah, because
You don't get their motivations maybe at the time when everything is, quote unquote,
Right,
easy
like
for
like
you.
Fahrenheit 451s.
Yeah.
In 1984, and what was the other
Yeah.
one that Orwell wrote? Were like, and Brave New World as well.
Brave New World.
I think we had to read
Yeah.
that. Those are heavy, interesting reads for
yeah,
a
like
14 or 15-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That's pretty weird.
just
That's
because the
good.
protagonist is young does not mean that the writer is, and that's definitely the case in a lot of books. And I think it's relatable to you because you're that age, but like they're talking about ideas that are more profound through that aged character, and you don't really see that until you like reflect back on it when you have more perspective.
Yeah. What was the other one? I feel like you and I have talked about this before, Cheese. Wuthering Heights. Haven't we talked about
Oh,
that?
Wuthering Heights. Yeah, I've read that 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. I kind of like
Yeah.
that book too.
I like
That's
that
something
book a
that
lot. I
gained
like that
context.
era, that Bronte, Dickens era of writing. I'm
Yeah,
just
Shelley.
fascinated with that. Shelley.
Yeah. That
I'm
kind of stuff.
fascinated with that.
Man, now I want to read. You've pumped me up.
Yeah.
Man. I'm not going to probably because I have no
I've
fucking time.
truthfully never read 1984. I really probably.
That's a beautiful book,
I've
dude.
got a
I really
paperback
want- I
copy
really
I can
want
bring
to.
with me. And you can just have.
Yeah, actually.
No, I'll probably get it on my Kindle.
Yeah.
Oh. My Kindle sudden.
Broke ass, no Kindle having.
I'm just kidding, man. If I could afford a Kindle, I'd actually pick one up. I think they're dope.
They're not
really
really
cool.
I don't think they're that. They're not. It wasn't that.
No,
bad.
they're
It was
like it's like a little
60,
over
70
$100, but every time I
Oh,
go
well,
in, I look at it. I'm just like, I should keep this $100. I should keep it.
I really like having books. Like I'll buy books even if I don't know what the fuck, just to have them because I think they're great.
I
Dude,
got
I
too
agree
much
with you.
other
It's-
shit. Like I
that's-
can't fucking.
It's the
handle
same
that.
thing that's antiquated. It's almost becoming antiquated, just like owning video game discs. But I like having the book on the. There's like just having it in your hands. I really enjoy
Nothing
that.
like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing like it.
Anyway, guys, let's move on. Please check out.
Wait, real quickly.
Yeah, go ahead.
Danky, what kind of books did you guys read in Sweden? Like
Oh
growing
yeah,
up in
for school. Were there
Yeah.
any books?
I do not remember.
Really?
Yeah, we really didn't have like
No
any,
worries.
any like hard literature books we had to read. So no, I don't really remember that.
Were there any famous Polish authors or Swedish authors? Polish,
Yeah.
Swedish.
I
Rather?
guess. I didn't read much.
No?
I read like Harry Potter.
Yeah.
That's about it. But like Harry Potter, I think when I was like 12 years old. Then Lord of the Rings when that came out, but it was just in school we didn't have that. Like you have to read these books.
Different
I wasn't a
You
curriculum.
didn't
Yeah.
have that.
Interesting.
I like the A. Did you guys have the AR program when you were in school?
AR,
The what?
that must be a Texas thing.
Accelerated reader.
Oh,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
had that. Are you talking about
Okay.
guns?
You made it sound so much more high tech.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's
It was for me, man. You read a book and then take a quiz on the computer. Like, that was fucking cool.
Yeah.
And then you get your points and you spend them at the end of the year and like buy fucking some bullshit that doesn't even matter anymore.
Jeez, what are you laughing about?
Just Buck. I love this boy so much. Yeah, I had to type in chat earlier, like, I want to troll Buck so bad, but I can't. So I'm just going to type it out loud that I thought about it, but I didn't do it.
And now here we are.
Yep.
Guys, check out logi.io. Logey. Sorry, I can't talk today. logey.io. He did the intro for our song here. Big shout out to him. Really appreciate it. And who is it that did who's doing all the music for you, Cheese? I always forget.
I grew up with him. His name is Greg Webb. He's on Reverb Nation at Greg Webb and Facebook. Greg Webb Musician, I think it is, on Facebook. He's linked in the videos.
And I have some friends from high school that are in a band, and they've been putting out more demos. And before they get signed, I think I'm going to talk to them and ask if I can't.
Oh, you should totally.
Because, dude, I think they're so good, man. I honestly think they're really good.
Is it the band that you showed me?
One of the guys from that band is in this one. They've got a really cool style, man. It's a little bit like Tame Impala mixed with, I don't know, it's hard to describe, but I really enjoy their stuff, and they're cool guys too. I'll talk to them about that. The G&G dating game. Cue music. Let's hear some music, guys. Come on. All right, good.
Jazz riff number 1.
Yeah. All right, let's see who we're gonna be dating today. It's like, oh, hello, my name is Anthrax. I'm here to find someone. I party hard and game hard. Bachelor number 1. As